Welcome to this installment of Creative Cabin Fever. On today's installment, I have the very interesting Nathan Mack, and I can't wait to discover more about him. So you just released a song, Better Off Without You, and I personally don't believe the world would be better off without you because you're so freaking interesting. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm dealing with lockdown in my own little ways. I'm reading a lot more now these days, especially because of everything that's been happening lately with all the absolute madness. It feels like the world's falling apart. So I feel like I need to prepare for some sort of revolution. So I'm reading and reading and reading and reading.
Has there been any kind of standout books that you've gone, okay?
Politically, kind of. I've been just digging into James Connolly's collective works, which is like these books. They're like this fucking huge, and I've gotten through this much of it, and it's already really depressing. But that's the only real sort of political one I've gotten into so far. You know, I've got books on the way. I saw this amazing lady. She does the blue-eyed, brown eyes test, or blue eyes, brown eyed experiment thing. She was mentioning two books that I've ordered. One was 20, what was it? 20 points on fascism and the myth of race. So I'm waiting for them to come to me now. I'm going to get through them.
Yeah, no, that's really good that you're actually educating yourself on these things, because I think it's kind of our duty to actually learn what racism is like, because we have no idea, ultimately no idea.
You're looking at a guy who has no idea and only kind of realized that the other day. That's why it's been sort of knuckling down, doing work, learning, kind of, you know. But now it's weird. Now I'm thinking about, like, what does that do to the music? How does that change the songs? I remember years ago I wanted to become a politician before I wanted to become a musician. And I kind of made a choice being like, no, I'm going to do music and it's not going to be political. And I left all activism kind of to the wayside. Apart from like maybe Extinction Rebellion stuff here and there. But in general, I'd left all activism to one side. And it feels like I can't do that anymore. So I don't know what's going to happen musically. If I'm going to start singing protest songs or something. I don't know.
Very naively, I made a comment last year when Kerrang did a whole spread on British politics. And I said, politics has no place in music. But it turns out politics is the thing.
Yeah.
But it was a music magazine. I felt like you know what I mean? It's up to me to go and pick what I want. It's not up to you to tell me was where I was coming from.
Yeah. But it's weird how artists find themselves at the center of these kinds of debates all the time. I don't know what it is. And it's kind of been that way for a long time. And I'm not sure when it started. It might have started with celebrity or something. As soon as there's a famous person, everybody wants to know what they think. You know?
I think it started long before that, because realistically, poetry and music, they're kind of the same thing. And that's how you put a voice to people who are unable to speak. Like a lot of the art that's creative, whether it be written or painting, it's there to voice those who can't talk. So it's always been about repression and suppression and factual things that are going on.
I wouldn't say always. I mean, think about like the Renaissance. There was no like underground Renaissance movement. It was the church, and it was the Medici family, and it was that, you know. But the one thing I would say is in Ireland, in ancient Ireland, back with the Brehon laws, if the king was misbehaving, the poets would challenge him, and if the king didn't back down from the poet's will, then they would write a satire. And they would all stand on this big hill at dawn and they would just yell poetry at the king. And it worked. Like people would overthrow the king if he didn't obey the poets. So in that case, yeah, definitely. Going back to ancient Ireland, of course.
Yeah, but even like before that, like even the cavemen wrote about their days and what was oppressive to them, you know, in the hunts and how the hunts went down. They were cataloguing everything.
Oh, they were boasting, okay? That's like straight up like core hip hop. Look at all my gold chains. Look at all the wildebeest I slayed. Look at all these horns I got. Their drip was like horns and lion pelts. That was them showing off.
Perception is key, I suppose. But I'm
Yeah.
really proud of the industry today because a lot of the bands are actually giving all the money that they're raising through Bandcamp to asylum
Yeah.
seeking
Amazing.
organizations and stuff. That's powerful stuff.
Makes
Because
you
the
wish
fact
you were making money to do that, doesn't it?
merch.
Oh, God damn it. We're so poor. I'm so poor. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's really hard releasing music in lockdown. Like the really innovative ways you've come up with are fantastic, and I want to talk about those. But like they obviously came from necessity. Like
Yeah, well, it's funny because I had this whole release planned for real life. I went through this phase, I think, in 2018 when I was like, I don't need live performance. I don't need it. I don't need a fan base in my local town. I don't need any of that. All I need to do is put out content on the internet and do it on the internet. And I was so wrong. I was so, like, I tried for a whole year. I made loads of content. Nothing happened. Just like nothing at all. And so I quickly learned that I needed to go out and be in the public. And so then I developed all these strategies for releasing things live, like throwing parties for the release of videos and the release of songs, and doing these big gigs like at the Smock Alley Theatre and all this crazy live stuff. And then whoop, gone. I had it planned for Better Off Without You, but I was actually going to play in Bewley's, which have closed down, which means I never get to play in Bewley's ever. It's not okay. But learning learning how to release stuff online, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of fun. It's kind of like a weird game. A lot of this stuff is, because there are rules like algorithms and people's behavior online. It's all that information is there. It's how you look at it and take that into consideration, which is what makes the difference, I think.
and the algorithms are so hard to follow in this moment in time because everyone's routine is so up in the air. So you're relearning that and you're like, okay, what can I do to push what I'm doing forward? So like your competition ideas, for instance, they're smart. Like
it's fun. Plus I kind of just wanted to see other people singing my song. Honestly, yeah. And I am genuinely looking for more talent, like I want to collaborate with people. I am currently working on a song with a certain Irish rapper that I will not name, because if it doesn't happen, then I don't want to be the guy who said that it was going to happen. But it's really lovely, and I want to start collaborating with more people, because there is some very good talent in Dublin, at least, and a lot of very good talent in Ireland. And I want to be a part of that, share it,
yeah, like there's a big duty to support the Irish industry because we are genuinely some of the most talented fuckers out there. Like there's so much wealth to the talent in Ireland and it seems to just pass under some weird radar constantly.
Well, I don't know. There's a few things there. Like the Irish music market is nothing. We make no money. We don't have a population, and our population doesn't consume music. So it's kind of, nobody really focuses on Ireland as a center for where music comes from. It's why we all go over to London. We all go over to LA. We all leave Ireland to become successful. But also, there's too many of us. I don't know if we have quality but we definitely have quantity. I think we're playing a numbers game in this country when it comes to talent. Because I know out there's a lot of people that have no talent. Like, it feels horrible to say, but it's true. And every once in a while, somebody shoots through. And you can tell them straight away because you see them, you go, that's amazing. And then they stand out so well. But there's a lot of people trying in this country. So I definitely think we've got a lot of quantity. Which might be a little controversial, but
Hey, this is your interview. You can be as controversial as you want. I think Ireland is full of talent because that's what I spend my entire day doing is researching Irish music.
No, but it is full of talent. But the thing is like, there's just so many artists. There's so many. And I see them. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And only a few of the many that we have something really special and try that little bit harder and genuinely are aware of their shortcomings and actively work on them. I know so many Irish artists, and I've seen them for years doing the same thing, and people will say, why don't you do this? Why don't you try that? And they go, no, that's just not me. And then they go nowhere. They just stay as themselves in that place, and they never evolve. I see it happen all the time. And so basically, Ireland, step up your game.
I agree with you. I can't not agree with you, because what you said is completely correct. There's a lot of people trying to fit in boxes as opposed to actually following their soul. There's a lot of people out there trying to sell something that they think is commercial, when if they actually spoke from their soul, they'd be getting a lot further. Or if they use something a bit different, they would be exactly where they need to be. They're not pushing themselves hard enough. They're not trusting their gut. They're not going in the places that possibly would lead them to greater, higher betterness, you know.
Yeah,
That's society as a whole, really.
I don't know. I think there's a big, and it's just because I started playing music years ago. So I was doing a lot of circus in my teenage years, and then I kind of came out of that with an injury. And there was this open mic night that started in Swords, where I'm from, called the Chandelier Sessions. First time I ever played a gig ever was at the Chandelier Sessions. I was the first act, I actually was. And so we had a lot of musicians there. And some really good, really great talent. The boys from Carms, if you've ever heard of Carms, the boys from Carms are there. They're so good. And it's just unbelievable to see them singing live. Sure, even Codaline would come back and they'd hang out. Gavin James, Orla Gartland, everybody used to just show up and play. It was really, really weird. And it was really mad to see that number of people in such a small space. Then I got into Dublin City and I saw all these other artists flying about. I'm still discovering new artists, like friggin' 8 years later, discovering new people just popping up. And I kind of forget where I was going with this. Yes, there's one thing that a lot of them are missing out on. And it's like the most important thing for any musician or artist or dancer or circus performer, actor, anybody. Your audience. They forget about the audience. They don't do what people want. They do what they want. And then they complain that nobody wants it. You know? People want to dance. People want to cry. People want to hear something clever or funny. People want to hear something that's politically sharp, like Take Me to Church, being critical, but it's also got this amazing production and this flow. And I'm not a big fan of Hozier myself, but it's so good and people resonate with it. And I see a lot of singer-songwriters go up and they just sing about themselves and they talk about themselves and they write songs that they like and they think are good, and they don't ask the audience or check with the audience if they're enjoying it. They don't care. And that's the first thing that they got to get over. So many people I see like that.
Yeah, taking your audience seriously and asking for feedback and being genuine in your quest, because without super fans or without an audience, who are you going to sell it to?
Yeah, it's amazing. You'll always find some people, but have you heard of, Damien Keys? I think he's one of the chaps who started up BIM. He does this music marketing podcast or sort of chat YouTube show. He's really, really great. He's been out for years, and he's along the lines of, Burstimo. Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's along the lines of Burstimo as well. But I remember I watched him about, I think it was a year ago, and he put up this video saying, what are you giving your audience? What are you giving? It's not music. They're listening to your music. That's their favor to you. Okay, what are you giving them? Even with your song, and that changed everything for me. That was okay, I need to start thinking about, what am I giving? What value am I giving to the people listening or going to the show or staying in the seat, And yeah, that's when I started to look around and realize most people weren't giving anything to their audience.
That's a really, really interesting way to look at it. I'd agree. You have to be making sure that whoever your audience is, they're getting the best of you, because there's so many other people out there that might be more willing to give or more receptive to what the fans are giving them, and definitely not taking any of it for granted or, yeah.
So yeah, there's my 2 cents on Irish music people these days.
I really like how inventive you are in what you've been doing. So I obviously had heard about Burstamo as well. And I know that you've been scaring Reddit, which is why I think you're an evil genius. And that stayed with me. So I was a bit scared of meeting you because I was like, someone who thinks that laterally is terrifying.
No, look at me. I'm an innocent boy. I'm nothing. It's fine. Yeah. But Reddit has been, I've kind of actually chilled out on the whole Reddit thing. I haven't really been looking at it too much. And this is probably why other musicians and most people don't go to Reddit. It takes up so much of your time. You need to be a genuine participant. You need to actively be commenting on other people's videos and listening to stranger songs and helping them out. And it's a big exchange. And when you're trying to do that and release a song, you just don't have time. So while I'm still kind of a big advocate for Reddit, it is just so time consuming. Eventually I'm going to have to stop, which is a damn shame.
That is a shame because it was really helping you understand the voice of other heartbreak and kind of get people in a bad situation to commit to your lockdown jam.
Well, the good thing is that I'm still thinking that way. So when it comes to my targeting for audiences and targeting for like adverts or even just in my own head, how I write the press release, how I write my lyrics, it's like, okay, who am I speaking to? What are they going through? And how can I get to them? And how does the song help? Because it's that kind of idea, especially because I focus so much on lyrics that I try to articulate feelings that other people have better than they can, because they don't spend their time thinking of interesting or clever ways to say how they feel. They just say how they feel. So it's up to poets and songwriters and writers in general to just sort of do it for them. That's our job, You can see
which is
that.
exactly why you're going to be going down a political route very shortly, because it's a necessity. Do you know what I mean? So this brings us around in a lovely, lovely little circle.
Actually, no, it was funny. I was in bed last night and I got this idea for a lyric, which was, I've got growing pains, which is not physical, because, it's not physical, it's mental and emotional growing pains. Because you're growing your awareness and realization of yourself, and like of something like my privilege, learning about that, and then with that new knowledge, looking back on everything I've done, and it hurts because I've been ignorant and I've been, I guess, enablest in some situations and just let things slide that I shouldn't have. And it hurts, man, because you're like, I need to do better. And then you grow,
Yeah, but true growth should hurt. Like believing that you reach a higher ground by not actually feeling is moronic. Like it's like a fake light, fake enlightenment. Yeah, of course you can meditate your way out of this, but true growth, that's pain. True growth is filthy. Like it's not the fun, bubbly, I don't have to think about this, I can just pretend it doesn't exist. That's not growth. That's just moronic.
Yeah, it's denial. That's what I was doing. Yeah. But it goes back to my good friend Khalil Gibran, okay? One of my biggest inspirations. His line, "Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding," which is just, he's the best.
That is a very powerful line indeed.
It's so good. It's so good. And if there's one thing I love, it's powerful lines. That was one thing I learned a while back. Because I have been in contact with an absolutely amazing woman for the past, I'd say 5 years now. She found me as a circus performer, as a clown. But she herself has been in the music industry since she was 12. And she is now, since she was about 15, I think. She used to write for like a teen magazine. But now she's 72. So she's had a lot of experience in the music world. And what was I saying again? Feck.
About powerful lines. It's okay, I'm here.
Lines. Yes, that was the thing she was teaching me, was about powerful lines. She drilled that into my head. She really laid down the foundation for what I now believe is good music. She said, look, this is what is quality. And it's not a genre thing. It's not a decade thing. It is just, there's a certain quality in certain songs. And when it comes to lyrics, it's that powerful line, that line that just punches you in the gut, you know? I love it. So favorite lines are some of my best questions to be asked. What's your favorite line? Actually, what's your favorite line?
My favorite line, geez, I actually could not right now tell you because there's too many. No, can I think about this in the back of my mind until the end of the interview, and I'll come back to you with something.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm also one of those people that, as much as I love music, I find it really hard to actually get the lyrics correct. I actually have a friend, I purely text with misheard lyrics all of the time.
Hold on, misheard lyrics are sometimes better than the original lyrics, okay? Definitely. I mean, there's a John Bellion song, and his line goes, "I'm coming to terms with a broken heart. I guess that sometimes good things fall apart." Which is great. It's a beautiful line. He's an amazing lyricist. But I'd heard, "I've gone to bed with a broken heart. I guess that sometimes good things fall apart." And "I've gone to bed with a broken heart" is such a better line. Oh, sometimes, yeah, misheard lyrics.
There is a good one that is not a misheard lyric. I just thought about it in the back of my head like I said I would. I've made a mess trying to make amends. Thumper, ad nauseum.
Not bad. Not bad.
I like it because I often make a mess trying to make amends. It's my pushy nature.
You're trying to fix everything, and that's why it's getting messed up. Yeah. Do you know what the metaphor I have for that in my head is? In acrobatics, like partner acrobatics, when you're the flyer, the person being thrown around, which I used to be because I'm such a little guy, you know, and I've got hollow bones like a bird, you know. The trick is if there's any balance issue, if you feel off balance, do nothing. Stay stiff and fall if you have to. Because if you start trying to balance yourself on top, the other person's not going to be able to save you. And then you're going to ruin everything. So that's my metaphor for that one, just from what I remember.
Going with the flow as opposed to like pushing.
Trying to control it. Just sort of stay stiff. Let it happen.
It's a good lesson, but it's a very hard one to truly learn. Like it makes sense, but actually doing it's not necessarily the same thing.
Yeah, well, it's scary. It is. It's so scary. I remember, like, because I've used to teach a lot of circus, and especially with kids. Actually, kids are better at that, learning that lesson, than adults are. That if you say to the kid, "Okay, don't move, stay stiff, and you'll be okay," they'll believe you, and you can sort of just, and they'll be absolutely fine. Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, cool. You've just frozen up on me.
Oh, sorry.
But basically, yeah. And so the kid is going to be absolutely fine, but the adult, they will keep trying to control the situation, and they'll panic because being out of control sucks, you know?
Yeah, it's all conditioning. Kids just trust because they just, everything they do is supported by you. So the more confidence you give them, the more trusting they are. Whereas us as adults, we've already had life fuck us over. So why are we going to trust that things are going to be okay? Things are never okay. And then they're okay. And then they're never okay. And then they're okay. And then they're mediocre.
And it's just this up, but the up, but the up. That's the thing, you know, life is like a good melody. It's got ups and downs. There's a Nathan Mack line for you. Emblazon that on a t-shirt or something.
I'll get some merch. I will.
Yeah.
You like to be asked what your favorite lyric is. One of the questions I always ask anyone I'm interviewing is, what was the first song you fell in love with? Because I see that as your gateway drug into the rock and roll industry.
First song I fell in love with. Clint Eastwood by Gorillaz.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was 14. Like, there were songs beforehand. Like, the first single I ever bought was Blue by Eiffel 65. First thing I ever bought. I loved it as a kid. But the first track that I ever fell into, and it became a part of me, and still is to this day, is Clint Eastwood by Gorillaz. There's just that one moment in the song. I had headphones on. I think I was coming back from the city centre with my friends. We used to, like, there was about 30 of us from Swords, and we used to go into the city centre every weekend, you know, like proper townies. And I was sitting there on the back of the bus. I think I had a can of cider with a straw in it. Actually, no, what we used to do, we used to buy, you know, the licorice ropes, the hollow ones. We'd buy them and we'd drink Druids and through that at the back of the bus. It was mouldy, disgusting. But I had these headphones in, listening to Clint Eastwood for the first time. And it's that part of the song where he says, what is it? When he whispers in really close, like, that it's all in your head. And it just sent shivers down my spine. And when I realized music could do that to you, I was in. I was locked in. Gorillaz are to this day my favorite band.
And they're so innovative as well. Like, it's such an interesting concept. Everything about them is, you know,
it's so good. And I think they kind of hit the world at the perfect time because, I mean, you remember when we were younger, music was a very identity thing. So if you wore black clothes and like big boots, you like Marilyn Manson and Metallica. If you wore a cap up to here and you wore Adidas, you liked rap. And there was this whole cultural divide between music back then, you know, which as it was disintegrating, you get Gorillaz coming through that are just blending styles so easily and so seamlessly. They're the reason I got into hip hop. Singular, like they are the single. I even remember the song that got me into rap. You know, it was the weirdest one ever, and I think it was actually a remix of Clint Eastwood. Weirdly enough, strangely enough.
Yeah, no, it's so great that they came out as just this, you know, avatar band effectively. No one really knew what was going on. That made it more exciting. It was kind of like they were their own version of Slipknot, because you had Slipknot with all their masks, and then you had Gorillaz as these, like, you know, avatars, and you're like, who are these people? They're famous without actually wanting fame. This is unreal.
Yeah, it's just... And especially to have Jamie Hewlett as part of it, like he was the perfect guy to do the drawings. And by the way, I should mention, I have met Jamie Hewlett and I did shake his hand. So I do have a magic hand now. No, he's so good. And it was such an amazing project idea. Looking back on it now, thinking where I'm at right now, I'm kind of borrowing little things from it. You know, because like, Jon Bellion is a great example. He's one of my biggest sort of direct influences, you could say. You can look at what I do and go, oh, he's Irish Jon Bellion, done. And you can put me in that box and, hey, I'm happy with it. It's fine. But that kind of blending of animation and the real world was kind of done by John as well at a certain point. He had himself sort of turned into a cartoon and put into these amazing album covers, and I've kind of been doing little bits of that myself. You'll see with the single cover for Better Off Without You, I've got these amazing keys coming up around me, like they're floating, and the heart in the hands, which is this little symbol here. And I think as time goes on, I'm slowly going to start to become more and more of a cartoon. Which is the dream.
Yeah, it is really difficult to describe artists without using another artist. That's something I'm trying to really work on, right? Because you're like, I don't want to put you all in the same hole, but at the same time, I have to get someone from the outside to be gripped by who you are, because they don't know who you are, but they know who this guy is. And I'm really trying to keep those similarities at bay personally, but it's hard.
Well, no, don't worry about it. Here's the thing, like, no artist should be insulted when you compare them to somebody else. You shouldn't. One, it's extremely subjective. I've had people tell me that I'm like Hosier. I've had people tell me I'm like Dermot Kennedy. I've had people tell me I'm like the Coronas. And I've had people tell me like I'm every single white man. Okay? Young white man, that's who I am, essentially. And then some of them, yeah, I get it. I get there's little details in a song that they might resonate with. And I might shout in one song and they go, oh, Dermot Kennedy. You know, I might have a bit of a bluesy line in a different song and they go, oh, Hosier, that's everything you are is now him. But I wouldn't be offended by it. In fact, one thing I see a lot of artists struggle with is finding people they think sounds like them.
Okay.
You know? And when you do things like press kits and stuff and you're trying to sell your song, having other artists that you sound like is just so handy. You need it, you know? So I would actually say lean into it more. Find people that sound like them and then give it to them. It's such a gift, you know?
I like you. More and more each second of every day.
We're gonna have to do more interviews now. We're not gonna have enough
Yeah,
time.
like this would be like a weekly thing. Nathan and Becca have chats.
Nate and Bex.
I gleamed from a past interview with Demars Entertainment that you're into coffee shops. I'm into coffee shops, and at the time that you went on his, you couldn't get to a coffee shop. Has that lockdown restriction ended your way? Are you back in coffee shops now?
I'm
Is
not
it
in,
weird?
so I'm still quite conservative with the whole loosening up of lockdown conditions. From the start, I'm not going to just stay home. I don't mind staying home. I did go a little bit stir crazy sometimes, and I did take it out on the people staying with me a lot, but we got through that. But I miss my coffee shop so bad. I can't wait to get back into them. I will say though, since I was on that interview with David, I have had a double espresso from one of my sweetheart cafes. So it was nice. It was nice. Because I went to the city once, about a week ago, I think it was, to find my bike. I need to find my bike because it had been locked there for like 3 months. And everybody was like, no, it's been stolen. It's Dublin. And even if it's not been stolen, they took the wheels. No, it was perfect. I think they may have stolen a bicycle light. But that was it.
I saw the Instagram story and I was so happy you had found your bike. I was like, this shows the world's not completely rotten. I mean, that bike's been there for months. He didn't even know where it was. Of course, robbers aren't going to know where it is.
That's it. Nobody can find your stuff if you don't even know where it is. It's the best way to keep all your money safe. That's why I'm so poor. I'm like a squirrel. You know the whole thing with squirrels? That they bury nothing, they forget where they've been. And I love that. And that's an actual integral part of oak trees growing and other trees and hazel trees. Actually, how they spread their seeds is sort of counting on squirrels forgetting. And that's adorable, you know? Squirrels are like the bees, but of trees.
But they are. And they're really cute and furry, but kind of vicious as well.
Yeah. Well, you would be. Come on. You would be. If I was a squirrel, I'd be such an asshole. Because people don't care. You can get away with it. You know? Yeah. It's like being an old person or a toddler. You can be an asshole and nobody cares. Some people think it's cute. That's the thing. Take what you got when you get it.
Be more like a squirrel. You heard it here.
Yeah, be more like a squirrel, and then we wouldn't have problems like this quarantine because we'd all be too afraid to go near each other. We'd be just running up trees.
Obviously, you're a lot of people's lockdown jam, and your song is doing great. But I was wondering what your lockdown jams are, what bands I should be listening to in this moment in time.
Okay. There's two, and I tend to. I've got a very mainstream idea of what music, and I love listening to pop. Like again, Jon Bellion, Angèle, two of my absolute go-tos when it comes to music. But I'm gonna have to actually look him up on Spotify because I forget his name.
It's okay.
Okay. Let me see real quick.
Oh, another great lyric that I had. You are your own secret weapon. The Scratch.
You are your own secret weapon.
Empowering as fuck.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I forget constantly that I am my own fucking secret weapon.
But is it a secret?
To me, yeah.
Oh, so it's a secret to you. You don't even realize it. You're keeping the secret away from yourself. Okay.
I have no clue of my own power on a constant.
Okay, so I've got 5 artists that I'm going to choose from because I've got loads of others, but these are the 5 that I've been listening to. So Jon Bellion, Angèle, Tribe Called Quest, of course.
Of course.
Then Renaud Garcia Fons and Dhafar Youssef. I'll send you them because their names are spelled out. They're kind of French Arabic, so it's kind of like there's some weird spellings. But I can type them into you and send them to you. And they are my jams for quarantine, definitely. Especially Dafra Yusuf. I think all my neighbors think I'm an insane person because I'm out gardening in the sun and I've got my my little speaker. Look at this thing. This is so powerful. But I've got it blaring him, and he's like this Arabic jazz singer, and he does these these high notes will just make you freeze. You just go, it's just so beautiful, you know? But I think my neighbors think I've sort of got some weird affiliation to some sort of weird extremist group.
And that's why you don't leave your house and you're always on the computer.
That's it. But again, it's part of the Extinction Rebellion flag in the window as well. They think I'm a part of a cult. I don't know what it is. But my garden's gorgeous, so they can go to hell.
And that's all that matters. My neighbors also think I'm tapped, and they're probably correct.
Yeah.
Have you noted?
Talking to you.
They can see me in the window. They're like, "Who the fuck is she talking to now?" Have you noted any changes to creativity since lockdown began? So is there anything about your creative process that's now different, or are you just writing differently, finding inspiration in different places?
No, weirdly enough, no. And I guess it's probably a time thing. So I think a lot of artists have been changing their creativity because they've had time to do it. You know, they're not out doing their thing. They're not out working. They're at home. They've got a lot of spare time. I still don't have spare time. I'm actually busier now than I was before lockdown. So for me, it's kind of been normal. I've put a lot of that creativity into selling the song and getting streams, and we hit 15,000 in the first month, and I think we're just about to hit 15,000 on Spotify now. But a lot of my effort has gone into that. When it comes to my writing at home, we've been watching some documentaries, which have been really nice, and just from the movies and things. We watched Burlesque the other day. You know that it's the best movie ever. We watched Burlesque, and instantly I was like, yeah, I'm gonna write a song like that. I'm gonna write a song for a film. You know, so I started writing this beautiful little song on the piano, which I tried playing at a live stream yesterday, and I just kept getting it wrong because it's not finished, you know. But that's it, really. And I've been writing a lot on the piano, just experimenting, because I've been teaching people in the house how to play little bits and bobs, and that's sort of led me to different places. But yeah, I haven't really been creating that differently, really.
Okay. And with regards to obviously live streaming and performances, like, how do you feel about those? Because it's a strange time. I'm trying to log it all.
I miss applause. Oh, I want slapping hands. That's what I want. And yeah, it's weird because you can't really be funny on a live stream. Because when I'm on stage, I'll be able to chat with an audience if they're small enough, and there is a banter there that I don't have on live streams. What I do like about it is I don't have to compete with the audience to play. Yeah, so everybody's listening, you know.
Everyone's out with their phone on a purpose now. They're not filming you. They're actually watching you from their phone. It's awesome.
Yeah. No, it is nice. I mean, my biggest problem, though, I think, is my internet speed. I'm amazed this interview has been actually ticking along well, because everything else, even you saw with David, my internet went, I had to use somebody else's. I don't know why my phone is just falling apart. Yeah. Again, I'm a poor man, you know, I don't have internet. I've got mobile data. That's it.
So last question, because I understand that obviously pop is important to you, but even that was a change in your normal pattern or what you were doing before, and you've grown a lot. Like, you've obviously done circus and performance, and from that you've gone on to singing. That's a really interesting process. And you write lyrics that you kind of try to give voices to other people. So you're obviously growing with your lyrics, and there's a lot of growth in you coming from other people's voices, maybe things you hadn't considered prior. Has there been any other kind of growths with either creation or this particular lockdown, aside from obviously learning a lot about things in books and documentaries, but like other self-discoveries or growth, or how you find the creative process while also growing yourself?
That's a big question. That's a long question. Damn. Have I noticed any newness in my creativity? Yeah. I think I'm becoming a little bit more proficient with the flow of songs, like the structuring and the it's I don't know, it's hard to put my finger on, because it's kind of a little bit of everything at the same time, which is resulting in a very different effect, but from lots of different sources. I think in a big way, singability. I want people to be able to sing the song back. That's something I really want to be able to do now. So I've started putting in parts to my songs, like it's not lyrics, it's just vocalization. So the Better Off Without You is probably not the best example of that, because there's no sort of sing-along parts. But there's the next song we're doing, Carolina, has this part where it's just Carolina, and that's it. That's like the whole chorus. And so it's perfect because people can come back to that. And I think when it comes to a lot of the innovations for my songwriting, it is, weirdly enough, more of a marketing thing. All this marketing, like research and progress, has actually affected my songwriting itself. And now I have been taking gender out of my songs as best as I, like when I can. I've been trying to take gender out of my songs, because then anybody can sing them, you know? Like if I'm like the song I'm writing now, the circusy song for this musical thing that I want to do, I'm writing it so that it's non-gender specific. So that, say, because there's two people singing it. So if the love story is between a man and a woman, or a woman and a woman, or a trans man and a trans woman, whatever, no matter who the combination is, they'll be able to sing it. And there's no restrictions on that, you know? So I think that was one thing I definitely woke up to during the quarantine. Yeah.
Beautiful answer.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
My son gives out to me constantly when I sing boy songs.
Oh, that's not fair. You should be allowed to sing boy songs. Gwen Stefani, right? She sang, what is it? Rich Girl. If I was a rich girl, and she did a great job. She changed it completely, you know? So I actually like sometimes when you gender flip a song. That can be fun. I've got a song called The Boy Who Learned to Fly, and I've had friends do joke versions of it with it's the girl who learned to fly, you know? And one person said it's the non-binary who learned to fly. And I was like, yeah! It doesn't have the same ring to it though, but yeah. But it's nice, you know?
Yeah, you know that song I'm on Fire? Like, there's a girl does it and she's like, hey little boy, is your daddy home? And I'm just like, it's so creepy when it's said that way, but no one ever thinks about it the other way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So creepy.
Little girl, is your mama home? Is that the original lyric? Yeah, that's still creepy. I'm sorry, that's creepy. Okay? Like, that's not okay. There's so much of that though. There's so much of that. It's weird. But you know what I think a big part of it is? The word boy refers to a small underage male, you know? But the word girl, because of the way people use it, like I know fully grown women who call themselves girls, and who people called them girls, you know? And so the word girl seems to have this sort of transition of age, I guess, but it's still creepy. It's still creepy.
Bruce Springsteen, creepy.
Hold on. Is that a Bruce Springsteen lyric? Thank God. I hate Bruce Springsteen. Hate him. But I will say, he did give us the Backstreet Boys, which is pretty cool. If you listen to any Backstreet Boys song, the chord progression is directly lifted from a Bruce Springsteen song.
That is a fascinating fact I did not know till right now.
Now, that's not a fact. That's what my girlfriend calls a Nathan Mack fact, which is honestly a thing that people use now in my life, is that a Nathan Mack fact is something that I just think, and then I say it as a fact. And people seem to believe me. I don't know what it is. It's just that confidence, you know?
There are many cult leaders out there with a very, very similar power.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, me and my little sister, we could definitely start a cult. Definitely could. Yeah. Well, you know what they say, like a lot of cult leaders started off as musicians. So hey, you know, the 20s is going to be a decade of turmoil. Who knows? Maybe I'm the cult leader everybody needs.
I'm not discounting that fact. You are fascinating.
Would you join? Would you join my cult?
No, but only because I'm too busy building my own empire. I don't have time to be joining anyone else's thing.
Hold on now. I'm not at odds with your empire. I could be like a religious figure in your empire. That's a possibility. You know?
Have your people get in touch with my people and we'll try set something up?
I love that you have people. I love that. Your people is your son. He's your manager. Is that it? You're like
Keanu Dante takes care of my stuff, okay?
Is that his name?
That is his name.
That's such an amazing name.
Thank you.
Well done.
I was only going to have one child. I was going to make sure I was getting it right.
Yeah. Nice.
Is there anything you'd like to add to the interview before I stop recording?
Favorite lyric? What's yours?
Oh my God. I gave you 2 semi-good ones. Now I'm stuck.
Yeah, but come on. I want you to give me a lyric that makes me go, wow. I want to hear that song. The other 2 lyrics, while they're okay, they don't make me want to listen to the song.
I know. I was just stuck. I'm still stuck. I can't think. I have like this weird sort of brain freeze right now. I feel...
Okay, wait, let me give you mine, okay? Because this is going to make you want to listen to this song. Okay. Oh, thunder. The lyric goes, if chewing was to show me how much you cared, I'd probably be wearing dentures by now. That's a good lyric.
That's a great lyric.
Fucking amazing lyric, right?
That is a great lyric. I just feel like, I don't know, people listen to songs for different reasons, and I do actually take lyrics into account. And I was thinking a lot about, you know, how people use songs on Spotify and stuff like that, and how important it is for bands to actually have their words, the lyrics up there, so that when people use the song, you know, it's there and people can see the lyric, and then you can use it with a story, and that's an extra platform where someone might discover you and the importance of that. So I had been putting a lot of back work into thinking about that. But me myself, lyrics that impacted me, like literally all I do now is, okay, Blackbird and Crow, but it's a whole song, right? It's a whole song, okay? So it's called Harlot, and it's by Blackbird and Crow, and they're from Donegal. And when I heard it the first time, I was like, oh my God, because I'm really bad at remembering things exactly. I'm going to paraphrase.
Okay.
I'm going to get my phone. I'm not going to paraphrase. I'm going to look up the lyric, because this is actually melting my brain, and I feel like I'm under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's my successes and my failures, I take as my own, right? because that's what life is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There we are. I didn't even need my phone.
Wait, was that the lyric?
That is it.
Or that's the paraphrased lyric?
That was probably paraphrased. It's a whole beautiful thing about women being misunderstood as harlots because men are full of ego. And at least we take on our own, like, failures and successes. We're not actually allowing anybody else mirror. Like, I'm sick of people bleeding on me because someone else hurt them. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that really annoys me.
That's a lyric, that is.
I do write poetry, and that is in a poem I wrote recently. But I don't sing, so it could be a lyric. I'll just send you my poetry, make songs with it.
You should rap.
I can kind of rap in French. I don't think I can do it in English.
You need to rap in French for me right now. I'm sorry, but that's beautiful. You need, please rap in French for me.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? When you listen to Angèle, but Elvis Romeo and all the gang, I'm so into they're Belgian, but like French rap and hip hop. I am so into that. Like, please rap for me in French.
I grew up in France. My teenage years were spent in France. Therefore, I have a massive love for a band called I Am. Okay, if you've never heard of them before, you will need to hear about them very soon. They write this one song called Petit Frère, and this is how it goes. Petit frère a déserté les terrains de jeu. Il marche à peine et veut des bottes de 7 lieues. Petit frère veut grandir trop vite. C'est pourquoi il a oublié que rien ne sort de courir. Petit frère. Do, 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 do. I could keep going, right? But there was a musical interlude for a reason, because that's actually in the song. But I can actually do the whole entire song. It is usually a party trick of mine.
Wow, that's a good party trick. Rapping in French.
I don't know if the world was ready for that, Nathan, but it's done now.
I'm glad it's out there. I'm glad it's, and I hope this kicks off your career in rap. No, really, rhythmical rap, and even if it's like Shanos, like, I'm so amazed that it took until the past freaking 10 years for the world of rap and the world of Irish to come together. Because I mean, Irish poetry is rhythmical. We as a people are rhythmical. And to hear some of the rap that's going on now is amazing, because we're now starting to finally figure it out, you know? Yeah, I'm amazed it took so long. But you got to be a player in the game.
This is how my hip-hop career started.
When they look back, at least you'll have video evidence. You know, this is for the documentary in the future.
This is meant to be your show.
Look,
I'm going to stop filming. It's like a
just keep going. I'll just keep going. If there's one thing you need to know, right? At my core, I'm a ringleader. I am the ringmaster of the circus. I have a top hat downstairs. I identify with Kermit the Frog so much. So if there's anything about me, it's going to be about the people around me as well.
Yeah, I like to plant seed in other people. Like, I like to give them ideas and watch them grow. I like to try and show everyone their own magic, because a lot of people don't really believe in themselves. I like to do that for other people, and similar.
Plus, hey, if we want opportunities, we need to give opportunities. Every project I do, there's a hand going up for some help and a hand going down for some help. Always.
And that's the way everyone should be.
Well, hopefully.
Should be, not is.
Oh, should be. Oh, yes. Okay, should be. Yes, exactly.
Okay, I'm going to stop recording and we can go back to messing.